Hey guys, welcome to Braddels Gaming and to another video on this channel. This video is very different to one of my two staple series on this channel, Community Creations, where I test out other people's maps on the Far Cry 5 arcade, and my own custom map series where I showcase you guys my own custom maps. Now, if you're new to this channel, I definitely suggest you subscribe as I have some more content, both Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn related, coming very soon. So stick around for that and definitely go and check out my other videos if you're a Far Cry fanboy like myself. But for this video, I'm going to be attempting to do a full Far Cry New Dawn trailer breakdown and discussion on my initial thoughts on the game. Now, what I must say is that I'm not going to be breaking down every single little detail of the trailer, but I'm going to be showing to you guys some specific parts of the trailer that I definitely think are going to generate a lot of hype and excitement about Far Cry New Dawn. Now, for the first part of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the gameplay that I've captured on the Far Cry 5 arcade while playing multiplayer with some friends and some randoms. The reason I'm doing this is because for the first part of this video, it's not going to be the trailer breakdown itself, but more so my initial thoughts and discussion on Far Cry New Dawn. And so there's going to be some gameplay in the background to entertain you guys, and then on the second part of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the Far Cry New Dawn trailer while I break it down, and also some specific screenshots related to the game that show you guys the things that I said earlier about what I think will generate a lot of hype and excitement to do with Far Cry New Dawn. So, what are my initial thoughts on Far Cry New Dawn? Well, while many people have been skeptical of Far Cry New Dawn basically being a reskin of Far Cry 5, I for one am actually excited by the proposition of playing in Montana again, even if it is the same game world like Far Cry Primal was to Far Cry 4. If it's based in a completely different time period, I think that does enough to make the map seem a lot different. When people complained about Far Cry Primal being a reskin of Far Cry 4, when I first watched Far Cry Primal gameplay, I didn't think that it was the same map, and it was only when people started getting a little bit smarter and started comparing the Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal maps side by side that people realized that it was a highly similar correlation to one another. But without comparing the map worlds and just playing each game separately, you don't notice it, and even with a reskin, even if it is the same, it still looks quite different to Far Cry 5, well, at least Far Cry Primal to Far Cry 4, and what I think Far Cry New Dawn will be to Far Cry 5. It'll still feel very different, and because it's set in a post-apocalyptic time period, I think even though it is a reskin, not many people are actually going to notice that it is a similar setting to Far Cry 5. It'll still have the same charm of Montana in terms of the bright countryside colors and the monstrosity that the mountains are and the lush greenery. But it will also be added with some wildflowers throughout the map, which I think will create some much needed color that will completely change the whole face of Far Cry New Dawn from Far Cry 5. Another thing that I must disclaim to the doubters who are saying that Far Cry New Dawn won't be any good is that Far Cry's setting changes with every game. In Far Cry 3 it was tropical islands, in Far Cry 4 it was the Himalayan mountains, and in Far Cry 5 it was the backcountry of the USA. But even though all these settings were vastly different from one another, they still maintained the same Far Cry mechanics of going around, taking down outposts, going up to bell towers or radio towers to find out what was in the area. Far Cry 5 didn't have that, but it still had a lot of other very similar stuff. And, what I must say is that from each Far Cry game to the next, the central core components of Far Cry, the game mechanics, are all going to be the same. So if you're a Far Cry fan like me, I don't think New Dawn can do too much to unimpress you, because it's basically going to be the same gameplay mechanics as Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 3 was. It's just going to be in a slightly different color filter. So if you're a Far Cry fan and you actually like the gameplay of Far Cry, then I think that you should definitely pre-order this game. But if you're just someone who is a casual gamer looking for something to play around February, maybe wait a couple months just for the game to go further discounted, because I think at $70 that it is in Australia anyway, that's $30 below the normal retail price of a full standard game. I think that even for $70, Far Cry New Dawn is going to be a bit on the pricey side, because it is just a standalone game. It's not really going to have, I don't think, as much content as a full game. So I definitely think that most people should probably wait a couple months before it goes down in price, before you actually buy it, and then maybe play it around the March-April time period where it's a bit cheaper and you can enjoy the full fun that I think it will provide. My breath caught up with me then. Anyway, that is about all I have for my initial thoughts to do with Far Cry New Dawn. Now I'm going to be doing a full trailer breakdown and provide to you guys as many game correlations as I can. And what I mean by that is some things in the New Dawn trailer caught my eye, and I can definitely tell you guys some correlations to other games that Far Cry New Dawn has. So we're immediately greeted by the picturesque Montana setting and then the bombs dropping, although that could just be Ubisoft telling Bethesda that they failed with Fallout and that this is the end for them. There's lots of clips here. As I said, it's a bit too fast for me to be able to commentate in detail. We see an SOS sign in the fields there and a lady speaking, probably one of the main antagonists by the sound of her voice, and we see the super bloom environment that is consuming Montana after the apocalypse, after the winter that has been for the last 17 years. And here we have two survivors. I take this as probably, them setting up shop here. People say that those glasses may look like the father glasses, but they're literally just normal wraparound glasses that a lot of workmen in trades use. And here comes the Highwayman, the main antagonist of the game. We see some settlers trying to defend against their settlement, but it looks like the Highwaymen have them covered with the RPG and with the radio stopping. And now we have the two main antagonists coming off their bike, ready to put distress on the people of the settlement. Power. I'm actually not listening to the trailer because it's muted while I'm recording, unfortunately, so I can only see what's happening. So I do ask you guys to forgive me if I do talk over the top of the dialogue, although I'm sure many of you guys who are watching this video have probably already seen the trailer many times. And if you want to see it again, I'll put a link in the description. And as we can see, like most antagonists in Far Cry games, they're very violent. And it comes into the big build-up music. We've got crazy things happening here. We've got a truck that looks like you can have a car ramp going over into the fortress and infiltrate it. We've got a lovely dog there in the car. Looks just as cute as Boomer. Oh my gosh, this is getting way too chaotic for me to commentate. We've got some new weapons, it seems. We've got a racetrack. Could be a new game mode there for single player, I reckon. New natural order. Got some nice little fireworks. Bit of a contradiction of events there, because fireworks are meant to be something nice, but they're in such a ugly sort of setting, not in terms of environment but in terms of story. We got the father regretting all that he's done in the past, and now we have the title. And that was me attempting to do a full commentary over the trailer. This is the first still, and it reminds me a lot of Shaneth Arena from Far Cry 4, a location in that world where you could visit to do challenges, whether it be gun challenges or just facing endless waves of enemies. I feel like this is going to be a similar type of scenario, and maybe a reward that you'll get from playing at this arena is maybe some cosmetics, camos, or weapon attachments for your character. Could this be the return of fortresses to the Far Cry franchise? Fortresses were larger than usual outposts, which appeared first in Far Cry 4, and the image here shows that they retain very similar structure in terms of its squarish layout, and I think this is a fortress because the walls on each side of it are a lot higher than the normal outposts that we've seen in the past. And I also think this is an outpost that we have to attack because pink dominates this image and pink is the main color scheme of the main antagonist, the Highwaymen. Now this is one of two pictures I'm going to show you guys related to the same topic. Here we see a very old rundown sort of fortress structure, and this reminds me a lot of the Far Cry 4 Valley of the Yeti's DLC, where you would basically go out on expeditions in that DLC to find new weapons and defenses for your settlement, and you would then come back and, you'd be able to buy those upgrades in the shop once you had done the expedition or mission that was required of you to do. And the reason why I think Far Cry New Dawn is going to be very similar is because the next image depicts this same sort of settlement looking a lot better in terms of its overall outlook, as you'll see right now. Now, how I know that these two settlements are exactly the same place is because Prosperity is your home base, from what I've read, and this is the same image that was related to the Prosperity home base. As you guys can see, it is a lot more brighter, the community is a lot more vibrant as there is more people, and that makes me wonder that if you go on these expeditions, it basically gives you a better chance to defend your fortress against the Highwaymen, and also allows more of the settlers to come here to live. One thing I also forgot to touch on is that in the distance you see two shops, or what looks like shops, called the Healing Garden and Cartography. Now in another image that I'm not going to show you because I'm trying to make this quick, it shows an explosive lab, and it seems that if you go on more expeditions you are able to gather more assets for your defense and for your community. In my opinion, I suspect that cartography is where you can buy maps to reveal certain locations. Healing Garden is where you can buy special drugs or potions to uh, basically enhance your character's abilities within a limited time. And it sounds like Explosive Lab on the still that I won't be showing you guys is where you can upgrade or buy explosives. And there's probably more shops that you can add to your outpost by going to these expeditions that also further your character's development. Now this is definitely one of the more unusual vehicles of the game. I believe this is an inspiration from one of the vehicles that they use in the Middle East to adjoin two sides of a river, allowing tanks to cross. I believe it's called the Armored Launcher Bridge Vehicle. It's a very long and clunky name. But anyway, I think this is going to be used in New Dawn by the Highwaymen, basically used to bypass the walls of resistance fortresses. So, obviously it's a truck with a ramp on it and the car just goes over that ramp and they get easy access into whatever building or structure that they're trying to get into. Now here we have the number one feature of the game. The dogs can now ride alongside you while you're driving in your car. Now unfortunately there will be no return of Boomer, at least there shouldn't be a return of Boomer considering dogs don't really last much longer than 20 years in terms of their average lifespan, and let alone doing it in a nuclear explosive would literally be impossible. Not literally, would be impossible. Here we have the first of what looks like 3 expedition locations taking place in Far Cry New Dawn. This first one looks like it's set in Arizona, perhaps in the Grand Canyon. This second location to me looks like it's clearly Alcatraz. And the third location looks like it could be Florida. The reason why I say it may be Florida is because it looks to be in a sort of swamp, even though it is definitely a theme park, but it looks like it is following with the same color scheme from Everglades in Battlefield Hardline. I know completely different developer, but if you look at that map, it does look very similar to the screenshot that you're seeing right now. Feast your eyes upon what looks like Boomer's replacement. I have no idea what this Warthog is going to be called, as the only information I've seen regarding Far Cry New Dawn is basically the trailer and a bit of what many stores that I've read have said, but apart from that, most of this is hunches and what I basically think. Similar to what I said about the arena earlier, I think this is going to be a similar location for racetrack fans. I think this is going to be a place where you go to upgrade your vehicle and a place where you compete in races to get the latest modifications for your vehicle. Now we come to a point in the trailer which I think a lot of us Far Cry fans, myself included, have been very excited by the proposition of being able to play alongside the father. Now, I'm not sure if this has been confirmed or if this is even going to happen, but it would be pretty cool to play alongside someone who supposedly blames himself for the world that has been created, and it would be cool to replay as the Rook 17 years after the apocalypse to continue to serve and protect the people. Alright guys, that is all we have time for. Thank you very much for listening into this video. I know that it can sometimes be a daunting task to click on a video where the channel has such a low subscriber count, but thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, I'm your guy for any Far Cry New Dawn or Far Cry 5 gameplay and news, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I definitely plan on making a lot more videos in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one. Remember to have yourself a good day, and this is Braddels Gaming signing out.